we need to invite your attention very much and then ask any question because we are all in one small community. And please ask questions wherever you feel a clarification is needed. Thank you. Chandika, on to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Satnagar. Good evening, girls and boys. I mean, there are girls also in this program, I guess.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, yes.
So I'm very pleased to be presenting the Money Brokers Association Code, which has been accepted, known by the central bank, who is vested by the Banking Act to regulate the operations of money brokering companies who are incorporated in Sri Lanka and accredited by central bank and authorized institutions of the central bank. Before I go any further, I think most of these guys are new to the industry. Maybe some are not. Let me brief you about the money brokering, how the money brokering industry started in Sri Lanka. It was started in 1981. Indian company getting collaboration with local company Bartlett company, Bartlett McLeod, then the bigger Chapman, then Tullett. Tullett basically became John Keel's, and now they are not in business at this moment. So since we started money brokering, actually until 2000, maybe about 20 years, we were self-regulated. We did not have a regulatory arm. So we actually realized that the need of money brokering industry to be regulated. So over a period of time with correspondence and the communication with central bank, we managed to get ourselves regulated by central bank in 2011. So after that, we realized that we need to get the code of conduct for the money brokers itself. So for that, we basically got a couple of expertise support, senior people support, and we consulted some of the senior people and central bank, and got some referred some global market code of conduct model code, and compiled this. And central bank went through all the details and gave us a model code for money brokers to have a professional money brokering to make the industry the professional, right? So and so we are regulated under one division of central bank domestic department. Code was issued in 2018. So we are accredited by DoD of Central Bank, who conducts all the associated practices, supervised and reviewed in their endeavor. Our goal of our association is to develop and promote appropriate codes and standards for the treasury market. And Central Bank Code of Conduct and Practice will provide guidance and important industry benchmark for market practices. That has all the do's and don'ts, what you have to practice as a money broker. Why this code of conduct came into power is recent global market crisis highlighted the dangers of unchecked financial innovation and insufficient regulated market behavior, because there are a lot of loopholes for other people to do, transactions for themselves, for their personal benefits. And this initially, not that they did not have the model code, the code of conduct, it was not sufficient enough. not adequate nor desirable for legislative regulations to be so moderating the actions of market participants. So that's why they've been looking for opportunities to make apart from their pay. They were looking for other opportunities for them to make money, right? So this code of conduct will give you the professionalism to the market. So Central Bank also hopes to encourage demonstrate self-discipline, professional market participants through their ability to regulate and monitor their own behavior. So when you have a model code of conduct, always you will work within that framework, because you know the repercussions of deviating the rules and regulations. Because regulator can take any action on you when you violate any of the rules on the model code. That will give you a comprehensive guidance for you to have a you to shape up yourself, take decisions properly. That will mitigate the confusions and not will give you any room for you to do unprofessional transactions.
Chandika, now
Yes,
at this point, I think it is important to introduce the role played by the Association of Money Brokers.
Yeah, actually, when there is a dispute, I think that is been mentioned in the next slide, sir.
Right.
Association also, like when there is a dispute, if somebody complains, make a note to the association. Association will be taking up with the central bank, because the association itself cannot take any action over any of the institution. So we will have to take it up with the central bank, and that they are the regulators. We will be informing the regulators. Say regulators will do a check, and they will take the proper actions against, or if they can solve that matter, they will do that. But so we act as an intermediary for that disputes.
Yeah, but all the money broking houses are members of the association.
Of the association, sir. Yes.
So
that's the reason. But now I can't get involving in let's say Piguet Chapman or the Bartlett or any of the individual institutions transaction with a client, because that is also confidential stuff. So yeah. If I get involved in that as the president of the association, I will see all the transaction details. I only can pass it on to the regulators.
That is when it comes to a particular transaction per se.
Yeah.
But when it comes to common matters.
Yeah, common matters. Obviously, we all, like all the seniors are the partners of this association.
Yes.
All are directors of the association. So we discuss and come to a conclusion how that problem can be solved.
Okay.
Right. So professionalism and competitiveness. Sri Lanka Money Brokers Association and Central Bank mission is to further promote the professionalism to competitiveness of the treasury market. So when you have a professional people who are doing all these transactions, acting as an intermediary, there is a competitiveness, because we have 9 money brokers. We have a competitiveness among the 9 money brokers also. So if there is a professionalism, like if you abide by this model code rules and regulations, you will not deviate from the model code or the code of conduct to do any transactions, right? So developing appropriate codes and standards, it is us to us, like how you think this should be implemented, and we will have to consult whatever the proposals to be given to the regulators like central bank. and they will be publishing that. It is not Money Brokers Association who will be, issuing any new code of conduct to the industry. So some association will assist with the assistance of market expert and distill the best practice in international and domestic treasury markets, formulate to this code of conduct and practice. So we have got the global financial markets model codes and ACI model code, and we have the central bank has compiled a separate model code for the money brokers in Sri Lanka according to our environment. Creating awareness, that is the clients that you deal with. Our clients are basically the banks, corporates, primary dealers and all. So you have to have awareness. You should know to suggest or implement new whatever the new product to go and suggest to another the client, and that client also should have some sort of a understanding. Otherwise there will be a misunderstanding and disputes arising, because if you don't understand the product that you're going to get into, there will be a misunderstanding. So both parties has to have the understanding of the product that you are going to get into, right? So even after that, if there is a dispute occur, it provides an objective and impartial basis for the involved parties to resolve their differences within them. Or court supports the association in carrying out investigations in possible complaints in relation to the conduct of any member. That is what I said earlier. So if there is something like that, we will try to sort within. If we can't, if it has to go to a different level, we earlier had a market practices committee. I hope you will remember that, Mr. Ratnayaka.
Yes.
So there were a couple of instances where we had to consult them as the expertise to resolve all these. If there is an issue, to resolve that matter. So now since we don't have we stay direct to go to the central bank and get their involvement to resolve any of the conflicts, to solve the problem.
One question, Chandika.
Yeah.
Now, other than this dispute resolution and all these members finding wrongdoings of members, is there any subcommittee or something promoting togetherness?
No, not really, sir.
Together or something like that. Now, for example, Sri Lanka Forex Association, we have so many activities to promote joint activities.
Yes. So
like that, is there any meetings or is there any functions organized by the association?
Yes, actually, sir, we have annual get-togethers. Like we have had training programs also. So it is recent part it did not happen, but we can't get Forex Association and get money brokers to organize anything like that. But we've been part of Forex always. When they organize, familiarization sessions like, board games and all, money brokers have been part of it. And when central bank is organizing any programs related to treasury products, money brokers have been participating. So we don't have the committee as per se, to resolve or to organize. It is us, basically 9 money brokering companies has always, we've been having always less than 100 number of people. Even though the industry covers about 38 to 40 years, we always have had less than 100 people working in all the money brokering companies.
Mm-hmm.
So
But that's
due to that, due to that number, we actually can't even think of organizing due to the cost. It is due to the cost factor. We have to get someone to sponsor us to organize events like that. We have a plan to organize, but last 2 years we could not do anything. We have a plan to come up with these familiarization sessions at least once a year, because every year we can't have money brokering courses because we don't have number to do the money brokering course also. That is also something not only we will. I think these guys should not restricted themselves only for this certificate, the awareness of the product, how
and
to handle this
further development as well.
development of for their personal development also. That
Yep.
if that happens only, you will see a development of the market, right?
Correct.
So that's a simple reason that we somehow try to organize events like this to give awareness and revamp their whatever the knowledge but to attach the intermediary and through the professionalism. So that only we have this model code implemented for the association.
One small suggestion from me, Chandrika.
Yes, sir.
Would you think of, you can think of appointing someone from your board of directors
Mm-hmm.
to lead for this year and for the next year annually to organize small coordinated activities.
Like about the market products and all.
Product awareness, and also to promote the cohesiveness, to increase the relationships.
Yes, actually, actually, yes. We were basically having this about decades back. Sir. Yes, we had that the communication link is very much greater nowadays with these limitations. It had basically died a natural death. We will have to revamp that. It is a good suggestion. I will take it up with the association. Will be meeting up next week. I will propose that to have at least once a year.
Not very costly events. I mean, for that matter, if you want to go to a small cost-effective place, you can each and everyone can contribute to their costs.
Yeah.
And then meet and have a chat, and then discuss common things.
Yeah.
Not really the business, but common things, so that will promote the bonding between each other.
True. I don't think anybody will like that idea because when we have that kind of meetings next week, people have joined different places. So I don't think others will like that suggestion. Anyway, I will make a note on that. So we had this practical issue. Anyway, some people like, some people did not like. So there are people who like to be patronized and have the have a PR, socializing with other company people. So maybe 50% of the people did not like that. So that's why it basically died a natural death, sir. Even we had this AGM. After the AGM, we had this social event that has also been cancelled due to that. So I think we should not be talking about that in front of these guys because they will get ideas after this. So can I move on?
Yes, please.
Okay, awareness code represents a shared vision of treasury market participants. So that's what I mentioned earlier also. And Safeguard further promotes Sri Lanka's status of financial center, exemplary finance, professional and ethical standards. Actually, this is simply because to attract other people to the financial hub, like Sri Lanka. We will be a financial hub very soon, and this is what central bank wants, to have people to be very professional, because most of the foreign investors will like to come and invest or to come and do trades in a professional market with ethical standards, and they will also will look at what kind of a environment background that this market is behaving. So central bank is harping on that kind of an environment to promote Sri Lanka. So one thing is to do that with this model code of conduct. So that has all the ethical points what you got to be abide by. So every participant, both institution and the individuals, should familiarize with themselves with this code. The company, the maybe some of the companies owned by the big companies, they are some of the companies owned by the market senior market people. Obviously, they know how the market behaves and all. Some of the companies CEOs or chairmen doesn't know what is money brokering, but still they run a money brokering company. But the head of the money brokering company should coordinate with the chairman or the whoever it is, the owner of the company, to familiarize with this code of conduct, to have the right conduct, and tell the employees of the money brokering company to abide by this. So then when both people knows, and it will be easy the companies also to be move forward. Okay, role of a money broker. Obviously, we are a intermediary. We only match deals, either two counterparties or number of counterparties. That has to be done by mutually accepted terms, passing names or rates, volumes. Broker only supposed to look for proper counterparty for the transaction, right? Money brokers are strictly, it is prohibited to act as a principal. Principal means you don't carry positions. You are not supposed to carry positions. Recent past, some may know when you do that. Obviously, central bank will get to know now. Right now, a few years back, we also did not have systems in place to monitor these things. Now everything is in place, so you are not supposed to carry positions. Act as a principal, okay? And you should not act in any discretionary fund management capacity also, because you are not a fund manager, you are only an intermediary. You only look for rates, you get prices and try to match prices. You don't carry a position and look for prices for that and front run the market. Brokers should act in the best interest of their clients and should follow their instructions in each transaction. So broker always, as a broker, what you should do is always, when bank A wants a price, go and look for the price without mentioning the bank's name also, right? It is the discovering prices is up to you. How you should do that is also mentioned in the model code without hurting anybody, right? money broker should exercise care in giving advices or passing information to principals. This is one of the important points here. When you are giving information to bank A about bank B, if that information is sensitive and if that information is confidential, it will have a issue on you. I'm sure that some of you guys would have experienced giving what are the state names to third party. I think all of us would have been penalized at one stage. So you are not supposed to. This model code clearly says that you are not supposed to give this information. And giving advices like, okay, two state bank is buying, why not to cover your position? Or two state banks are selling, why not cover your position? You should not be giving any advices to any information to any of your clients, right? Okay, this is the point that I refrain from divulging confidential or sensitive information about activities of individual clients, right? It is not done. You are not supposed to do that.
If I may interrupt, Chandika.
Yeah.
Now, you are talking all the dangers and then your boundaries.
Yeah.
But at the same time, on the positive note,
yeah,
when you are acting as an agent or a broker to your client,
yeah,
in a transaction, you act for two clients.
That's
both
right.
sides,
That's right.
So for both, if there is any market development that might benefit the client,
Yeah.
On a positive note,
Yeah.
you should be sharing with them, right?
Definitely, yes.
You should be sharing with them.
Yeah.
I mean, not informing the buyer's name to the seller,
No.
seller's name to the buyer,
True.
but any other market development that might benefit
Yeah.
each of them, or one party or the buyer, the seller,
Yeah.
you must discuss with them.
True.
Because I think as we discuss in the course, money broker, although it's known as a broker, has the responsibility of an agent as well. Agent acting the best interest of the
client.
Principal, as you quite rightly said here. So the positive things, at least the positive things, you must be discussing with them, and then on the other hand, if you don't discuss the positive things, you might not be in the good books.
Definitely, yes. It is your duty also to inform the banks about information, but that information shouldn't be sensitive. It cannot be political.
Yes.
It cannot be biased.
Yes.
Right. So if someone says that tomorrow policy decision can be changed, so then you are not certain in that kind of information. So those kind of information is a very sensitive information, and if that is going to happen also, that should be very confidential, because your broker cannot be aware of that kind of information. So there had been instances where some of the people have basically told some of the people, like, the clients, just to do a transaction. It might happen, it may not happen. If it doesn't happen, he will be in his bad books. If it happens, yes, he will be in good books. So you should not gamble with any of this information. It is good to share information. If it is, the model code says not to share information with care. You should know your limitations, boundaries, and to whom you are passing that information also.
Okay.
Right. So, refrain from divulging confidential information, sensitive information about the activities of individual clients.
I'm initiating this discussion so that everybody listening will benefit.
That's good. Yeah. all the money brokers should not give an opinion which they are not qualified to make. We discussed this, which falls outside their scope of responsibility, such as assessing counterparties' counterparty credit. And because if you are not sure of the information that you are going to pass on to your clients, if it is a rumor, you should not discuss that with anybody, unless otherwise you are certain and confirm about the information that you are discussing with your clients. Okay. Okay. Disclosure of names by money brokers. This has led to a very big issue in our industry. Money brokers should not disclose the names of clients before they conclude transactions. They can only disclose the names when both parties are agreed to the amount, the rate. Only you can disclose the counterparty. Okay. Name should be provided at one at a time. So you should not go and ask bank A, sir, can you deal on this? Can you deal this price on this price with these people? B bank, C bank, D bank, and you don't give the list of names to the initiator, market maker. You only can give one name. If that person cannot, that client cannot deal that name only, you can submit another name. If that is also fails only, you can submit another name. Not to give 3 names and ask, sir, can you deal these 3 names, right? So that is happening in the market. That should be stopped. Model code says it is prohibited to do that, right? So if the initiator, market maker rejects the first name, only you can give a second name, and third, you can go on like that. Or I'll tell you, principal encourage provide money brokers with early indicator. The market maker will tell you, I can't deal with bank B and bank C. Then you have no problem of checking another name with him. That is also only one name. If that is also fair, if without his knowledge, you can give him another name and check the names, right? Principals may specify type of instrument. Okay. Now bank A will quote your price. Let's say quotes a spot price and 1 week price and 1 month price. You ask, or he will tell you, I can deal spot only on spot only with these people. 1 week only with these people, right? They will mention that to you. So when they mention that to you, you are not supposed to go and tell him the market is this and it is not a dealable the price, because he has already mentioned that to you, right? So he will, if he mentioned, you are not supposed to go and giving the prices who are quoting the counterparty who are not dealable, right? Principal may also provide indication on different. Okay, and they will probably tell you, okay, I can't deal this bank A on this price, for him this price. Then what you are supposed to do is quote the price, that dealable price to that counterparty, and he will tell you bank X can deal on this price. So you are supposed to quote only that price to the bank X, right? So you don't go and quote the general price to the person that he tells you or mention, I can't deal him on this price. You are not supposed to do that, because you will not be able to deliver if that person is willing to do a transaction on that price, right? Okay, products covered by the code. Basically, in our markets, we have very limited products. Foreign exchange, including FX derivatives, like what we do at this moment, cash term spot and the forward swaps and money market instruments. Sorry, sir.
Chandika, before coming to these products,
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please, sir.
Now, if you on the mentioned in the previous slides, now if you as a money broker or one of the staff or staff of any other money broking house observe that someone else does front running,
Yeah.
what is the course of action?
Accuracy now in a team, it is not only that person who front run will get into a trouble. He will think that I'm going to make money, and he will not be distributing whatever the money that he makes with other people, or he will be. But the repercussions are, if he get caught, the whole company and the team will get penalized. Because nowadays the systems are in place. You can't front run and you can't give off the market participants' name to a counterparty. So most of the time now with the Bloomberg and the Reuters, we also feed in prices. Even central bank very frequently check the prices. They call all the brokers, right? So now front running is very minimum.
Okay.
Unless otherwise someone tells you today evening, tomorrow I have a position. So you sleep overnight and come and try to do something. But there again, that at that moment you have to record the transaction. Then all the others will know what is the market is.
Okay.
Right? If you are in the dark, obviously you will not see. When someone is front running, you will not see the market. Now, since the systems are in place, others also will can see. So we even at the moment now, some of the transactions being recorded. Even clients' transactions are also being recorded. Sometimes we are also been confused how that has happened, and we just assume that can be a client transaction. Yes, that has been a client transaction. We on a day like the treasury bill auction day, right? Sometimes a couple of pips below the average rate is being traded in the market, and in the secondary market it is traded at a higher rate. So the different rates basically outside the market participant, non-market participant. That's a client for the bank or the corporate or whoever it is. So we record secondary market transactions. Sometimes we see maybe 5-10 basis points here and there. We used to see half to one rupee gap also long years back when there is no systems in place.
Now, my question was, Chandika, now if you identify someone as front running,
yeah,
if you observe,
yes,
what are the remedial action that you could take?
Yeah, definitely, sir. Because now, let's say that any of my guys are doing that, I will have to warn him and stop that then and there.
Okay.
Right? If we continue to do that, I will have to inform central bank with the recordings, because that is why we have all these recordings also in place in all with all the money brokering companies. Okay. So you are not supposed to do any transactions over mobile unless otherwise prior approval from the higher management. You have to do all the transactions through the systems that is being provided to you. It has all the recordings, because when you do a transaction, counterparties, the time also have to be mentioned and send it to central bank as well. So when they come and cross-check recordings, the transactions and the recordings, if the recordings are not matching the transactions, then central bank will take action. Central bank will go to the extent of cancelling the license.
Now, I want to suggest one thing here. I think yesterday also I mentioned to this at this forum. Now, some arrangement called whistleblowing.
Yeah.
If you observe someone front running,
Yeah.
Maybe that the association can take the lead and formulate some policy-like thing, and then advise the observer to inform either the management or something, as we quite rightly pointed out now. We observe something like this, please have a look.
Yeah.
So that's whistleblowing.
Yeah, it happens actually now. All these money brokering companies heading basically, we've been known to each other for so many years. We actually have a mutual understanding. We at the money brokers exco meeting,
Yes.
which we are having every month. If we get to know, or if a client has informed any of the money brokering institution, money brokering companies, that this company, this dealer, this broker did something like this, and or he suggested something like this, all will come to the table, sir, because it is not the person who working in that company or involved in the transaction will come and tell at the or inform at the exco meeting. It is always a third party. Since we don't have the recordings, we don't have the proofs, we cannot take it beyond. But there again, what we discussed at the forum is like, okay, we have basically someone has complained something about like this. Please refrain doing that. If that person complains again, what we will have to do is, because the central bank is the only authority who has the power to come and check my recordings. So we can mention the date, time, and the transaction, and the counterparties, if you know, and inform central bank. So central bank will come and do an audit, and they will take the necessary action on that company and the person.
Yeah, that's a good development. So
Yeah.
what I suggest is that develop that whistleblowing policy, and then incorporate into your constitution or whatever your association money brokers.
It is there, sir. It is there. It is there. So if the model code says that you can't act as a front end, mean basically you are carrying a position. So money broker is not supposed to carry positions.
Okay.
And act as a principal.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Can I move on, sir? Yeah. Thanks, sir. So products covered by the code, we have limited the products in Sri Lanka, but if you refer to any other global markets model codes, it will have a lot of products. So what we have is foreign exchange, including FX derivatives, like FX derivatives, outright foreign exchange, outright deals, and swaps comes under FX derivatives. And there are so many other derivatives, and I think Mr. Ratnayake probably will explain in his presentation. Money market instruments. It's we do pure vanilla transactions, like outright bond transactions, or T-bill transactions, or money transactions, the repo, reverse repo, term money, and all. So in other countries there are so many other transactions. So you can go further, and if you want to know, refer to any other global market model code or the code of conduct. And debt security. Debt security is also not that active in Sri Lanka. I think it was active about 2 decades back. Mr. Ratnayake, I think when you are in HNB, there are a lot of debt securities being traded.
Yes. Yes.
So now that is also have died a natural death, I think, due to tax issues and other issues. Even though that they have reduced it, people are not very much keen to get into that now. But some of the companies, financial companies are doing it, but not actively traded in our markets now.
Okay.
right? Okay, legality of this code. Central Bank code has the force of law. It has the effect of a regulation, like we discussed earlier. When if you get if you get caught of doing any or violating any of the rules and regulations, if Central Bank gets to know, or if they do a audit and finds out that he will be penalized either rest of his life. It is not only him, the institution that is working also will be penalized, right? So you are not supposed to violate any of the rules and regulations mentioned in the model code of conduct.
Let me add something, Chandika, here.
Oh, sir.
Now, a code of conduct or any market best practice by the ACI or the Sri Lanka Forex Association or any other code of conduct, which is going to be self-regulatory effect.
Yes.
It is there to discipline yourself, and it has no punitive action as such.
Yeah.
When the code of Central Bank code was issued in 2018,
yeah,
and then in 2019 as well,
yeah,
as you quite rightly explained, they have the other regulator. They have the
right to
power to they have the teeth to impose punitive action.
Yeah.
So therefore, the ACI code of conduct or any other code of conduct is quite different.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I want to point out here.
Yeah, they are actually, why I mentioned that was like they have different. It is not the regulator that the market, they have market practices committee. They have senior the expertise, market expertise to yes. Go through whatever the dispute, whatever the malpractices. So they basically go through it, and it is actually they are taking it to the courts.
Yes.
It is not only the regulator. We only have the regulator to punish the parties who are involved. Maybe due to the size of the maybe the volume that if they do something like that, any malpractices, any unprofessional transaction for your personal benefits, if you do, it is a huge amount. So they will be taking them to the courts straight away.
Yeah. So
in our country, Sri Lanka, basically it is only the regulator. They can cancel the license of that money broker. We have to inform all the banks also, licensed money brokers who are licensed, authorized to deal, pick a line to quote a price also, sir.
Yeah,
that is one of the developments in the Money Brokers Association also.
Yeah, thank you.
So this is CBSL has power to impose punitive measures for any violation. Code lays down the standards of the conduct of the market transaction in fair and honest, prudent manner. So that basically shows tells you how to handle a situation. That explains you to be very wise, and when you are making a decision, you have to get the client consent for to do the transaction in fair manner, and you got to be honest. You can't hide prices. You can't quote off the market rate. If you really know that person has not been in the market, and if he was out of the market for a while, and if he wants to get the price, you have to quote the right real market price, not to fool him and do a transaction only for that moment, right? So dealers and money brokers in the treasury markets to comply with the code to ensure efficiency and well-functioning market. So it's not only the money brokers, even the clients also should be aware of these codes and the ethics. Then when both parties are aware of what they should be doing and what they what they shouldn't be doing, it is easy and it will be a smooth operation in the industry market. Code aims at a comprehensive coverage. Treasury markets are constantly evolving as a result of new product and technology. So technology basically, now when you have, let's say that we are used to do certain transactions, but when it comes to derivatives and all, it is a little complicated stuff if you are not thorough in that product also. And technology can, you know, can hide something and show something else. So you are not supposed to even encourage that kind of transactions. I think we are not in our markets are not to that level. But like example, I can tell you that oil hedging transaction, right? When someone get into a transaction, that person has to be aware of the contract that they are going to get into. So person, not only the broker, intermediary who suggest the proposed transaction, the person who is getting into the transaction also should be aware of the transaction that he is going to get into. Otherwise, you know, if it goes against, if it doesn't cover the cap and flow, keep one thing open without his knowledge, that it will not go to there, not go to that level and all. If by any chance if it goes to that level, everybody will be in trouble. And there were a couple of banks who had to pay penalties. A couple of banks fraud for that transaction for years, and there were so many people basically highlighted with for that unprofessional transaction, something like that. So market participants are advised to discern the principle behind the standards set out in code. The extent such principle is the new product or technology. So like when you are suggesting a new product, obviously first you have to, you know, have the prior approval authority and understanding of the product with the technology that you are going to be proposing to the client. So model code says to cover all these areas to have a not to have misunderstandings. Because if there is a misunderstanding and without knowing the transaction, getting into the transaction, end of the day, if you feel that next day, if you realize that I have got into the wrong transaction, it is too late to, you know, reverse it back also. So you should be aware, you should know what kind of transaction that you are going to get into, and your client as a broker, okay, you don't really need to know, but there again, if you also have any idea about the transaction, at least you can, you know, point him and tell that, okay, sir, I feel this is not going to work out. If this happens, this will you know, go against you. So both parties should be aware of the products and the transactions that you're going to get into. With this new technology, you can, you know, create different transactions also. So that is what it says. So model code covers that for you to be aware of. Without knowing it, not to get into it. So confidentiality. Well, document policies and procedures for ensuring confidentiality of information, preventing insider dealing or honoring client anonymity. So insider dealing, we spoke about it, and front running. So when you have a total outsider, non-market participant, getting information from the money broker, right? That is insider dealing. He can trade outside the market, off the market rates, and you are not supposed to do any transactions on behalf of him. right? Without client's approval, client's anonymity, you are not supposed to. You have to give a name then and there when you do a transaction. Now actually you have no option anyway. You have to, once you do a transaction, you have to record it within 15 minutes time. You have to send it to central bank and inform central bank and send it to the two counterparties also. That is also to minimize this kind of behavior transactions in the market. Requirement on all relevant employees, agents, subcontractors sign confidentiality undertaking, which is to be binding during, after or during your employment. Now I don't know whether you all have noticed it, when you get the appointment letter, offer letter, there are some clauses. If you carefully go through it, you will find that there are some clauses of this confidentiality. So you have to follow that, right? So that has been there from long years back. Now the management, now central bank with this code of conduct guidelines also mention that you are not supposed to talk about any sensitive, confidential information about the company or the company. So there are some guys who have joined from A company to B company. You are not carry any confidential and sensitive information from A company to the B company, right? Or B company to the next company that you're going. So while being in that employment, you are not supposed to discuss any of the confidential information or sensitive information with any of your competitors or the clients. So disciplinary mechanism in investigating and dealing with breaches of confidentiality. So disciplinary action can be taken by the management if you found guilty of dealing with breaches the confidentiality of the company, right? So you are not supposed to do that, and company will definitely take the disciplinary action. Market participants should divulge any information related to the deals, transactions or being transacted. So this is actually when you do a transaction, let's say you come to a transaction with A and B. When you do a transaction with A and B, C should not know who did the transaction. But if A and B doesn't mind giving their names out, then you can go and inform the market. You are supposed to give, now in the moving market, what you are supposed to do is only the rate being traded, not the counterparty who's involved in the transaction, and not the volume which is involved in the transaction. You are not supposed to give that. That is prohibited. Information disclosure to counterparties. Premature release should be avoided. Money broker should reveal the name principal only when she is satisfied that that's what I said. A and B, if A and B is okay to give their names out of the transaction, is fine. Otherwise, you are not supposed to give the names or the amount being transacted to a third party who are not involved in the transaction. And dealer should not solicit information from money brokers also. So even now, when you go and ask the price from a bank A, if bank A is asking, if bank A asks who's buying, who's selling, actually you are not supposed to tell that. You are not supposed to tell the banker who's buying, who's selling, right? So I think all of you all are experiencing it. If you say that, you have to face repercussions. Let's say, for example, let's say that People's Bank is buying. If you can tell another counterparty, if People's Bank is buying, you know that the People's Bank can find out who has told that. If that broker, if People's Bank finds out who's a broker, definitely that broker will be penalized. Not legally, but by monetary, he will be penalized. They will ban them for a couple of either months or the weeks or whatever, right? So you are not supposed to give that kind of information to the market and other counterparties also, right? If that the the principal is okay to divulge that information, it is fine, right? So when someone is covering a position, then nobody wants to divulge their name out before they cover their fully cover their position. So because of that, you are not supposed to. Model code clearly says you are not supposed to mention that kind of the principal's name to any other counterparties. And dealers should not solicit information from money broker through improper channels, like and like this. They are mostly, I have mentioned that earlier also. Political information, like so the if central bank is going to change the policy rate, right? If you are not supposed to, if you are not certain about that information, right? And if you if let's say that both state banks are in the market, right? If you go and tell if you go and tell that to another another counterparty that two state names are buying or selling, that is a threat. You should not indicate any of that kind of information to any of the third parties. You will be penalized definitely if they get to know. You can do that, but still you are not supposed to. If you are not supposed to, you shouldn't be doing that, right? Those are confidential. That can be very confidential to those two institutions, and it can be very sensitive for those two information. So you should be strictly avoid giving that kind of confidential and sensitive information. Maybe someone has a very good relationship with the Petroleum Corporation. So today the payment is due to Petroleum Corporation by one of the state names. If now you are aware of that kind of information, if you are going to pass it on to any of the banks, that will also have a major impact, because that is going to be a huge amount, right? The market like us sometimes will not be able to fathom with that kind of volumes. So if you pass that kind of message, market will run against them. Those are very confidential and sensitive information, right? Okay. Should not visit the deal rooms of other market participants. I think money brokers are not, but what we do is we visit the banks most of the time. Earlier we used to they entertain us in their dealing rooms. Now most of the treasury has a separate room for if someone is paying a visit to if a broker. Most of the time the broker visiting, if a broker is paying a visit to any bank treasury, right, they have a separate room. Earlier it was in the same room. You could hear their whatever the transactions and other from the voice, other brokers voice boxes, what they are quoting also. Due to that, you need to get prior approval permission from the bank. You can't just walk into any of the dealing rooms. You definitely would have seen the entrance of the dealing rooms have mentioned authorized personnel only, right? So obviously money broker is not visiting any of the money brokering companies. I'm not sure whether the bank can visit to any of the bank treasury also. I think that is also not permitted. Mr. Ratha,
yeah.
No, not a banker can come into your treasury and sit in your treasury, right?
Yes, other than the personally employed or working in the dealing room, others are not
permitted. Yeah. So even in other countries where I have visited some of the banks, I actually had to get approval 1 month prior for me to visit for 1 hour for my familiarization sessions and all. So even other country follows the same. Even if I am not in that country, any outside for them cannot visit any of the dealing room treasuries, right?
That is because Chandika, now anybody inside the dealing room, hearing the prices being quoted through the voice boxes,
that's right.
And even some inadvertently or accidentally says, I'm buying or I'm selling or mine or yours, it can constitute a trade.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's the main purpose.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to prevent a leakage of information.
And that is most important thing, the leakage of information.
That's right.
Because on that particular day, according to the market size, if that client has, let's say, X amount to be covered, if he's been able to cover only half of it, and that person who is in the deal room going to work next day, definitely know that that other person has to cover balance half, so he can forerun the market.
That's true,
right? So I think that is the reason that nobody is entertaining or allowing anybody to visit any of the treasuries, and that treasury has created a separate room for the visitors, right? And other dealers should refrain from concluding a deal in dealing room of other market participants. I have experienced decades back. Some other people have been in money brokering rooms and concluding transactions. Not in maybe sometimes when those days when we visit some of the bankers also. So they are, as a gesture, they say that okay, you do this deal. Now it is prohibited. You are not supposed to entertain anybody to your dealing room, or for you to go into anybody else's dealing rooms and do any transactions, right? Okay. And other thing is voice amplifying equipment to make your voice louder when there are people around. When you're using, especially the voice boxes, right? So everybody can. There is no restriction that you are shouting only to the FX prices, only to the FX dealer. There can be other traders in the table, right? So that is maybe you will give him some information that can be very confidential. So that confidential information can be heard by all the other people. So you should be very careful of the information when you are giving it over a box, amplifying your voice and giving it maybe over the phone. Yes, you can reduce your voice, but on a voice box, maybe you will not be able to. So such devices should not be used when there's a discussion of involve very confidential and sensitive information, right? So you should know how to handle that kind of a situation with your clients. And I will add something to this now. Sensitive information discussing in public places. I'm sure all you guys at this age must be patronizing at pubs, clubs, right? You don't know, sometimes there are some bankers, treasury people also in the same location, same pub, and you discuss about what you do, what you did, and what you're going to do, and who were involved in the transaction, and you may be talking about what you did today and what you have to do tomorrow with good this thing. But there again, that can be a threat to the other banker who is there. If he heard what you are discussing, if he knows the transaction, if he was looking for the transaction, you are just giving him the information for him to react next day. So basically, you are not supposed to talk or discuss. After a couple of shots, obviously you talk loud, and you have no control over it also. You should be very careful of discussing confidential and sensitive information after office hours in public places, right? Market participants should be satisfied with the security standards of modern communication technologies. Take all necessary steps to prevent information leakage before such devices are used to convey confidential or sensitive information. Now, you have to get permission from all the banks to fix voice boxes. If the bank doesn't like, you can't forcefully go and fix voice boxes, right? So bank has to be satisfied with that kind of a communication for him to give you green light or authority to fix the voice boxes, because that can they are not sure of only the market information being shouted on the box. It can be he can be online with a client who wants to invest, and if you say the interest rates are higher, that chances of losing that business for that banker is losing. So if he doesn't like that kind of communication, he will not let you have. So people, you have to get prior approval to go and fix a voice box to a bank, right? So where disclosure is required by laws and regulation, management and staff should comply and cooperate fully with the regulatory authorities. Even the companies, the management and staff also should comply. I think I mentioned that in the previous this thing also, and both has to be cooperative enough to comply with the model code issued by the regulators, authorities, right? And management should ensure the staff has the necessary knowledge and the expertise in the treasury operations. So this is one of the decisions and events that we are basically giving the staff to have the knowledge about the product and how to handle situations, to give them some expertise in the treasury operation, right? And we have to develop your skills to and check the abilities to carry out, whether you are in a position to carry out your duties, right? So if you can be a bond dealer, you can be a FX dealer, you can be a swap dealer, you can be a forward dealer. We should identify as the management whether you are capable of handling this kind of transactions, and whether you are doing your duties properly, right? And the recruitment policy that ensures the hiring of staff with that. So as a trainee, when we recruit people, we don't go do a screening whether he knows about the industry or not. This is actually when you are joining, after having experience, when you join into another, everybody must say whether you are being whether you are being trained, whether you know the product, and whether you have the common sense, and whether you have the ability to work out, suggest, to discover the market products, like the products that we deal. So you have to do a basically ability test and aptitude test to see whether you have the common sense handle this kind of products. Ongoing training, familiarization with staff. So staff basically has to be meet up at least once a year. Do you know, just have a, like Mr. Ratnayaka mentioned earlier, familiarization sessions. It can be done within your organization. It can be organized by the Money Brokers Association or the Forex Association or the central bank. You know, the board games, you know, familiarization sessions. You can, you know, there are a couple of programs which you can, you know, enhance your knowledge and revamp your knowledge. You must have at least once a year this kind of familiarization programs for all the staff. And training promote awareness to knowledge and market developments and new product. When you do these familiarization sessions, like, you know, the board games and all, so you will have all these product knowledge and developments of the market, etc. So we have to have that. We as association also have the responsibility to organize things like that. If not the association, the companies, because there are so many other institutions who are organizing these kind of programs, and to at least send one person at a time to get themselves updated, develop their skills, right? Avoid conflicts of interest. Any actual or perceived conflict of interest should be strictly avoided in the market transactions to ensure fairness. So conflict arises when you don't show the right market. If you are not aware of the market, you will go and show the market. So when transaction is to be concluded, or after the transaction, there can be conflict, because it is not the market rate and it is not the amount. So you got to avoid. You have to be at it. You have to be in the market before you conclude a transaction. You have to have an idea. You have to discover the market before you go and conclude a transaction. Maybe due to your relationship, some maybe some client maybe tell you, okay, I want to buy this, so you just do the transaction, but that is not the real market also. So after doing the transaction, he will come and tell you, you are out of the market. So those conflicts, when you are recording also, you have to answer for you know, even central bank and the management, why you have done a transaction like this. So you have to avoid this kind of conflicts, and should be trained to identify situations maybe potentially arouse concern. So before you do, you have to know, where you should have idea where it was and how now where it is, and where it is heading, before you even okay, if someone tells you, gives you a position, you should go and first check around the market, get an idea about the trades, and that can minimize this kind of conflicts, right? And disclosure mechanism should be set up. Controls should be put in place to handle the conflict in manner that would effectively eliminate concerns about the unfair treatment. So when you do a transaction like this, like off the market transaction, the person who has got the highest rate will be happy, but the person who's been you know, the fooled will not be happy. So you have to know to minimize this conflict, right? You have to basically obviously you have to get the consent of the client, but you as a broker always should have the correct market price, always, right? So otherwise it will be unfair by the person who's trying to give you a transaction and not doing the transaction at the market rate. So it's a very unfair treatment for the person who's trying to trying to give you a transaction. So you should make him understand, make him inform. Market, now the market is this, right? So that minimizes the conflicts. Right? The management should clearly define material interest in a transaction conducted for a client. Now, if someone is telling you that if the market is somewhere, if the market is let's say 10-20 and you cover something for me at 30, you should understand why. That is for his material interest. He must be gaining personally, but you are doing off the market transaction. As a broker, you are not supposed to do conclude a off the market transaction, or neither you suggest a off the market transaction to any client of yours. Client means corporate, commercial banks, and the primary dealers, right? So you should know, you have to inform the client of the real market, and you have to avoid doing off the market transactions for someone else's personal benefits, material transaction, for their material interest, right? Institutions should refrain from advising or dealing in such transactions unless appropriate disclosure of such material interest has been made to the client. So the client, the institution, if institution is dealing, actually we see most of these kind of transactions will take place if that person is not a market participant, right? So the management may or will have a different understanding and have signed MOUs, sort of documents. So you got to be very careful of how you handle that kind of transactions. It is approval of the management, and without hurting anybody, and you can't advise, give any biased advice to any other person to do deals. So such transactions has to be avoided, right? So reasonable steps have been taken to ensure the client is treated fairly. So sometimes you can't say no to some clients also. There again, that has to be handled by a senior person who has knowledge and with care. You can't turn down any of your clients also. So our clients, basically the banks, I don't think we have a situation like that when it's come to the corporates. Only this problem arises. So you got to know, you got to be very careful of handling that kind of clients, because when you handle the corporate, and if that corporate is a client of our client, also issue, you must have that in your mind, whether you are going to deal with the clients who has given you business every day and in the future, or the client who's going to give you business occasionally. You got to be very wise and think properly. Get the get advice from your the higher management. When an institution exploits clients in a business function, it should be exercised due to care. This is what I said, right? Mind the best interests of the client. So prompt execution of client orders in accordance with the client's instruction. If client says that I need to be covered this position, if you feel that the position is going to the rate is going to come down, you should not run the position on behalf of the client. You have to always act according to the instructions given by the client. You have to close it then and there, even if it goes in favor or against, it doesn't matter. You are supposed to conclude the transaction then and there with the instruction of the client. If the client says, okay, you watch and decide, then it's fine. Without client's instruction, you are not supposed to carry the position, right? Execution of client's order on the best available terms. So if client says without mentioning a rate that I need to be covered, so you cover the position. So you must be very careful, and you must have an understanding about the product and the market, how the market behaves, right? To cover at the best possible rate for the client, right? And when it comes the fair allocation of the respective clients' accounts, if more than one client involved. Let's say that bank A wants to cover X amount, bank B wants to cover Y amount. So they both come and tell you, we want to cover this. So first person obviously should be given the first priority, right? And if bank X comes and tells you opposite of those two banks that I need to cover X amount, so you have more amount to be covered but lesser amount to be delivered, then you should know to whom to give the priority. You got to be very mindful, you got to be very careful of either you split it or be fair and give the both parties percentage. Or if you are selecting on one party, you got to be very careful of giving the whole thing to that party. You can justify why you do that also. If you can justify it, that's okay. You got to be very careful of when you have more than one client to deal with, right? No withholding of clients' orders except under conditions stipulated in the contract agreement. So with we actually don't have agreements with clients. We don't have contracts with banks, but understand that we have our word. The broker's word is the bond. We don't have any contracts, right? But if you quote, you go to deliver, right? You all would have experienced it by now. Word is the bond. We have no contracts or agreements. The banks has contracts and agreements, MOU signed by both parties with their clients and corporates or whatever. So placing clients' best interests always the first priority in providing services or recommending services of an affiliated person. So we most of the time we give personalized service to we segregate the institutions and gives a personal service. So you got to know, you got to be very careful, and you should not have conflicts among the team or conflict among the clients. How you give the service to your own clients, right? So you are assigned to give a service to a client A, client B, client C, and you should know how to handle, right? For their best interest only you should act, not otherwise, right? Is Ratnagar?
Yes.
Sir, it's 6 o'clock. Are we to wind up or?
Yeah, normally we keep to the time. How many slides more can we do it tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll do the balance tomorrow, sir.
Right. Okay, we'll do it tomorrow then.
We'll wind up. We'll start from the sixth slide from tomorrow.
Yes.
Guys, any clarifications to be made? Sir, mukha magedari gila pagini. Never gini.
Now there are 13 connections on.
Don't know whether they are in different locations. Don't know whether they are on the move. Hari, sir, and then shall we wind up?
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Chandika, for the excellent presentation.
No problem. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.